Hello, top of the evening guys, Damien Jones here again for you today. Today we're going to be taking a look at these. Two rather lovely examples of the American M1 helmets as used in World War II. Now, I've got quite a bit to say about these first and foremost because all are not really what they seem. I'm going to just turn them around for you to see. I've got this lovely vintage medic helmet here, as you can see, which is in not bad condition for its age considering. So you just feast your eyes on that, see what you think. Whee. And now the more plainer one, as you can see, maybe leather strap. The internals on these are quite different, and I'm going to explain all of that with you just in a minute. But firstly, as I say, I mean, this with the hairnets on, all spruced up and everything, this is how I like to display my M1 helmets basically. So they look really good. I'm going to take them off the dummies now, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about them. Okay, firstly we'll take a look at the medic's helmet. This is a nice vintage example. This is how I like to display them, as I say, with the nets on. Now the nets are all reproduction, and I just put them on because, to be honest with you, they hide a multitude of sins. So we'll remove those and we'll take a proper look inside at what we've got. They're just held in place by these like elastic things. These are really good quality reproduction helmet nets, by the way. They come from China, I believe, and they hide a multitude of sins, as I say. So there's the helmet in its raw form. So we can take a good look at this now. As you can see, it's not in bad condition. Okay, so that's that one. And get the other one and do the same. Okay, so there we have them, guys. Now, the M1 helmet, it's a very common helmet. Very common helmet. You'll find these in any army surplus store around the world. In the US, they're as common as pebbles on the beach. But the question is, and this is a great mystery, where does your helmet actually come from? There are many different kinds and things to look out for, although in effect, shell wise, they all look exactly the same. Now, the reason why I put the nets on them is because, as you can see, there's quite a few little bungs and dints in this one, and I think those nets, they hide a multitude of sins. Let's take a look inside, because there are different types of liners and things to look out for. Okay, as you can see, they're quite different. Now, basically, with the M1 helmets, or M1 style helmets, you've basically got a steel pot, basically, a steel pot and an internal liner. Now, the first thing is the internal liner. They all vary, and that's important. Oops. See, stripping them down like this, you can see that this M1 helmet has a plastic liner. Markings on the inside of this leather liner is 59 to 61, which will be the size. And I already know about this particular helmet and shell. This particular helmet and shell is, you can tell by the side here, that this kind of chin strap means that it's actually Finnish. The Finnish army also produced M1 helmets for their troops post-war. Now, the sort of era that this helmet comes from, we can tell a lot. We can age it basically, and it all depends on, because for starters, you're not going to find much in the way of markings on the inside. On some of them you do, on the majority of them they're just plain like that. So we've got the plastic inside of that, but you can't always go by the liner on what kind, because often people they'll get the shell and they'll marry it up with whatever liner fits basically, and that's a bit of a problem. Well, a problem when you're trying to date them anyway. It's got a plastic liner, plastic modernish liner. The way how you tell, there are two ways to tell, to my knowledge at least anyway, there are two ways to tell what sort of period your helmet is. If your M1 helmet's from, say, the Vietnam War era, you need to look at the seam that goes around the side. Now apparently, although there is conflicting information on this, this is what I know anyway. Apparently, if you look at the seam around the front, eventually you will come to a join in the seam. And apparently, if your M1 helmet dates to the Vietnam War era, the seam should be here at the back, which it is. Which leaves me to the conclusion that this particular helmet is Vietnam War era, to my knowledge anyway. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below, I'd be most grateful for any more information, but to my knowledge at least anyway, but I'm sure you guys know a lot more about it, I believe this helmet dates to the Vietnam War era, but I could be wrong. I believe that the liner is later, but again, I could be wrong. I get a lot of conflicting information when I've tried to research these things. Basically, I know that this is a Finnish helmet because I was told it was a Finnish helmet when I bought it. I'm surmising that it's from the 60s or 70s because of the seam join at the back. Now, a World War II helmet should have the seam join at the front. So that's that one. Okay. Let's take a look at this more vintage one here. You'll notice in here, obviously the lining's a bit broken on this one. You'll notice in here that it's one of these bale type ones. Again, a completely different kind of liner altogether. And this one's quite awkward to get out, which leads me to believe that it doesn't really belong with this helmet. I'll put you on hold while I get this out. Okay, so now we have helmet and liner separated. We'll take a look at the shell itself first. It does have World War II type straps, chin straps on it, or certainly post-war anyway. Now, from what I was told, if this was a World War II era helmet, the seam would be at the front. That's off some collectors' advice. Others say there should be a seam at the side here somewhere. But sadly again, this helmet has not a very visible seam, but a seam at the back yet again, which means it could possibly be from the Vietnam era again, but I'm not sure. As I say, this helmet is an enigma to me, what period it's actually from. We take a look at the liner, and I've had a look inside the liner, and it's actually got a date somewhere. Where is it? Yeah, although the lining's broken. Okay, the lining in here says 1953, right? But as I say, this is quite an ill-fitting liner. Also, it has a German decal on the side, but again, has that German decal been added by someone years later? Take a look at it, guys, on the round. It's dated 1953, and let me know what you think in the comments. Yeah, let me know what you think. This is 1953. However, if the shell belongs to that liner, how come the seam is at the back? Again, to me, it's an enigma. And unfortunately there are no markings on the inside to indicate. So, to sum up, basically with liners you can pretty much say, you know, if they've got a date on them like this one does, we can obviously say that it is from the 1950s post-war, which is fair enough. But does this helmet actually really belong with it? Now, it's got a little seam at the back, and also the shells themselves. There's a slight curve on that one really, and this one's not so pronounced. But there we have them, guys. You let me know what you think in the box below about these two M1 style or M1 helmets. You let me know what you think. What do you think they are? Is this helmet from post-war 1953 as its liner is? Is it from Germany? Or is it American? Or is it from Bulgaria? I've noticed a lot of M1 helmets coming from Bulgarian stock as well, which would technically make them an M53, I believe. Whatever. The bottom line is, if you're looking for a helmet, if you're just looking for an M1, a helmet that looks like an M1 helmet, you know, you can pick these up for about 20 quid really. This one here, this one cost me about 33 quid. It's an enigma to me, I have to say, guys. It's a complete enigma to me. Some people are saying that the seam should be at the front of an M1 if it's World War II. Others are telling me the seam should be at the back if it's from Vietnam era. But again, I'm not sure. I don't know. To me, at first glance, they all look the same. And if you want to use these things for reenactments, and you're looking for something, well, a bit more, cost effective, you can find these things in any army surplus store. But that's it, guys. Those are my two alleged M1 helmets. And this one's obviously a medic one as well, which is very nice. So, let me know what you think in the comments below. Give me your advice, and I'll check it out and see what I make of it. See if you can identify these two a little bit better than me. For now though, my name's Damien Jones. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please give me the thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe. And I'll see you again very soon with another one. For now though, cheers for watching.